3, 2, 1.
Good evening.
Cheers.
What are you so giggly about?
It's good. Smooth.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome to Yin and Yaz, our new podcast. I'm Jenny Yazer.
I'm Jenny's husband.
And what is your name, sir?
My name is Jason Paul Yazer.
Okay. And we chose Yin and Yang as the title of our podcast because it kind of reflects the Chinese philosophy of Yin and Yang. And
So yin because it rhymes with gin.
yeah, I guess it could be Yin and Yaz, or
No, I think I like yin.
yeah,
and
I think
Yaz.
Yin and Yaz is better.
You made a good choice.
But it's about opposing forces that come together and balance each other out.
Well,
So it's very apropos.
Okay, I don't know that big $5 word, but I get it. The opposing forces. That wasn't by design. Just happened to turn out that way, right?
What wasn't by design?
Opposing forces.
I think it's relevant in the fact that you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat.
Say that out loud. Half the people.
You do have a blue shirt on, though.
Half the people don't like one of those.
Well.
And I don't really care.
But we've been married for 30 years, so how does that work?
Almost 31.
Almost 31, 30 and a half.
You want to make it?
Yeah, I think we're going to.
Opposing forces.
I think this podcast is going to help us make it.
Podcast. Let me see if this works. Is it working? Hey, it did work.
Okay, so the show is Yin and Yaz, and maybe people should know about why we chose Yaz. I mean, our last name is Yazer. However,
How did we do it?
it's a gift to our girls, but how did we come up with Yaz? Do you want to tell them about Yazcorp?
Well, our last name is Yazer, and a lot of people say Yaz to be cute, whatever.
How did we come up with Yazcorp, though?
Yeah, the story of Yazcorp was when I worked for Charlie Haller. He got a fax machine, and he was very proud of himself. And I bought my first computer, and it had a modem. Actually, it was called fax/modem. So I sent him a fax from my computer. And I was like, this is my first fax. How did it feel? And I signed it Yazcorp.
I did not know that story, so I just learned something new. Very nice. Okay, so I always thought you just made it like the family crest from like your military days or something. All right.
No, I wasn't that fancy yet.
Learning new things.
I was 21 years old. There's zero fanciness about me.
Yeah. So this podcast can be a gift to our girls, and it's also going to go through like a history and a timeline of when we met, and kind of I think it'll be nostalgic for us, but then also for our viewers, because they might identify with us and the timeline of a time of events.
The name Yazcorp wasn't just a goofy thing, a goofy signature on a fax. It became sort of the nickname of our family.
Yeah.
So
like
we constantly refer to us as Yazcorp.
We even have a sign downstairs that says Yazcorp.
Maybe we'll put a picture of that.
Yeah. In an upcoming episode.
Okay, what else about this show? It's up there.
It's a lesson on how to get along because...
You're going to say it again, aren't you?
What? What I wrote on here that you didn't like? The division in the country right now. I feel like right now is the time to show people how to get along, because we probably have more in common than we have to fight about. And I loved you before I found out that you were a Republican or learned more about those beliefs. So,
Interesting you mentioned fight about. I think there's more to fight for than to fight over.
True.
I think that's how we got to 30 and a half years.
True. It wasn't important back then. To me, it wasn't important. It was kind of an interesting factoid, but it wasn't important. And as the years went on, it became kind of like a spotlight was on that at times, because I believe we share the same values. We share a lot of similar values, but we don't share political. So it's very layered. It's very complex and nuanced, I think.
Sure. It's politics. You grew up loving it. I despise it.
But you served our country, so I don't understand how you can not play the game with it on the board.
Okay, those that serve their country don't get to choose who's the commander-in-chief. So they're required to do what they're told, no matter who's in charge.
I understand that.
That's what makes your military so good. They're bigger than any administration.
Yeah, we've talked about that over the years.
Are we going to talk about it again?
No, we're not. Likely. Yeah, it'll come up. It's definitely going to come up, because I feel like that's one of the things that's going to make this podcast like appealing to people. I truly think that we're an anomaly. There's not that many people that are married with opposing political views. By
anomaly, I can't think of very many people that have stayed married more than 30 years.
And also have opposing. It's just amazing.
I believe we've both outdone all of our parents.
Yes. And most of our family members.
That's right.
So there's definitely a formula there. There's definitely a recipe there.
You think we're following a recipe, or are we just freaking stubborn and gritty?
I think it's, like I said, it's nuanced. I think it's complex.
That doesn't say anything. It's nuanced. It's complex.
It is. Like, do you understand what nuance means? It means, like, it's like an onion. You have to peel it. We have a lot of history. We have a lot of connection. We have a lot of love. We have a lot of differences. And, yeah, and then stubbornness is a part of that. Stubbornness is in that formula.
I would also add determination.
Yeah.
And sometimes very intense focus.
I mean, if we actually talked about all the things that we've been through, I mean, being teen parents, you were in a special ops unit, in the military, 2 kids, mental health challenges in the family. Like, once we dive into the nitty-gritty of this podcast, I think that's where you're going to find all those complex layers. And many of those layers are going to be very relatable to people.
Very likely.
So.
We might even expose the mistakes.
Call them happy.
Own it.
I wouldn't say mistakes. It's all just a beautifully tragic tapestry.
Are you going to use that goofy word nuance again?
I won't use nuance. But I will say beautifully tragic or tragically beautiful tapestry, because I want to make that a chapter too. A chapter title.
We'll see.
Okay. So a lesson on how to get along. I mean.
That's all I put on that list.
Okay. Go to the next slide then. So who's
that?
So we start this. We look like little babies, don't we?
Tell us what we're looking at.
So this is our prom picture from 1992. That dress is homemade from a friend of my mom's. And Jason wore his dress uniform to prom. It's when you had hair. Wow, a lot of hair.
Yes, I was hairy.
I probably have the same amount of hair. Or maybe more, I don't know.
You look good.
Yeah, I do look good. Yeah. I'm still all of 126 pounds.
At least.
Okay. Let's not get in a fight on the first episode. But yes, I weigh all of 126 pounds right there and here. So
I don't even know if I was strong enough to pick you up then.
You were like, what, 140? What are you, 142 soaking wet right there?
Maybe. I could pick that girl up now.
Okay, so this is actually, because I'm a savant with dates, right? So this was May 9th of 1992. Check my math on that. That is correct.
Wow.
May 9th, 1992. Okay, next picture.
That was a while back.
Oh yeah. My gosh, you're bringing out, this is like 1992 Instagram up here. You got your Insta hoes up here.
She was not an Insta hoe.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a picture. Okay, so I took this picture at Harkey Pool.
What was the date?
It was June something of 1992.
A month after prom.
Yes, because you had left for AIT, and I went with a friend to the pool, and she took this picture of me, and then I had to go to Target Photo and wait a week for the pictures to come back, and then I folded it up in an envelope and mailed it to you like old school.
I put a lot of value on that photo. This hung up in my wall locker. AIT was my training for the military. It's training you do after basic training.
Yeah.
And I had a locker, and this is what I put up. This is what I was missing back home.
This is before you could get it online for free all the time. You had to wait for it.
Sorry I surprised you with it.
Had to wait for it.
Figured you would give a genuine reaction to that.
See, purple was my favorite color even back then. Isn't it ironic? It's an Alanis Morissette song, but also actually accurate. Isn't it ironic purple, like, and us opposing blue and red make purple?
Which one are you?
I'm blue. You're red.
Blue's my favorite color.
Well, as it should be. Okay, next picture.
That's clever. This is AIT.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is a picture you sent to me. So this is before, you had the instant computers in your pocket where you could just, get somebody right away.
This is where we learned about Jay's focus mode. This is Tired Jay.
Wow, yeah. I've seen that look a few times over the years. So, yeah, you sent me this picture with some other pictures, I think, of you and your buddies and different things. And so I would wait for the mailman to come.
That was in Fort McClellan, Alabama, probably June or July. I still had more hair then than I do now.
And you're still all of 142 pounds right there.
I was fast.
Yep, I remember getting that picture.
I don't remember who took it. I don't remember why they took it.
Albert, maybe.
I don't know who the hell takes a picture of a guy chilling out. Next.
Okay, next. Oh, wow. That is me posing on your 1982 Thunderbird.
What a piece of shit car.
Hey, put a lot of miles on that car and probably in the back seat too. That was in my driveway, right? I think that was in my driveway.
That was your driveway.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good picture, especially for being done in the dark.
Again, before Instagram, like, well, who knew we were like photographers?
But I mean, it's a camera, a film camera with an onboard flash, and it's done pretty good, I think.
Yeah. The
Your
banana clip.
White skin.
Look at my banana clip. My big hoop earrings. It's a little dated. This is 92. Still 92. Okay. My white Keds. No, I didn't. I had white Keds, but I don't have them on here. I've got my socks on here.
Well, I wouldn't have allowed you to put your shoes on my car.
Yeah.
I took pretty good care of that car.
You did.
I have one more.
Okay. Oh.
Competitive Ginny. Pissed off Ginny.
Yes. Look at that landline there in the back. Oh my God. And that answering machine. Jeez, this is so dated. This is my house, and used to live in front of a soccer field. There was a soccer field behind my house. So we had played soccer, and you actually kicked my shin.
You got in the way.
That was like I think this was the first time I was really pissed at you. Like, I was like, oh my God, he kicked my shin. Like, he was...
I said I was fast.
And see, look at this. On my algebra book, I write your name. Like, isn't that's what you used to do back in the day?
Now, whose shoes are on top of the book?
Those are my shoes. Those are my slip-ons. And then I'm drinking a Diet Coke, and you just happen to see... This is pissed off Jenny face right here. So you had your focus face, but this is like, I'll get you back face. Like, yeah.
I like her.
Yeah. So, putting some ice on my beat up shin. That's all the pictures you got? You put 4 up?
I probably put 5.
Okay. I thought that went well.
Glad you like it.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a little, maybe we could do something like that of the date ranges when we do episodes. Like, have pictures up there. And maybe they spawn a story or maybe they don't. What do you think?
I guess we'll do more episodes.
So another thing that's prevalent in 1992 is there was an election in 1992.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Come on. Pretty pivotal. So, do you remember, like, Bill Clinton playing the saxophone on Arsenio Hall? Do you remember that?
I didn't watch Arsenio Hall, so I've probably seen clips of him. I don't care.
Okay, but he ran against George H.W. Bush. And who else? Wasn't there a third candidate?
Why don't you tell me?
OMG, Jason. You don't remember the third candidate. Please tell me you can pull this name out.
What was I doing in, what was it, November of 92?
You were back from basic training by then.
No, it wasn't basic training. It was AIT.
AIT, you were back.
I was starting college. I was half-assing college. I didn't care about politics.
But you voted.
I don't even remember doing that.
You voted.
If I did, okay, I guess it would have been my first time I was eligible.
See, I wasn't eligible in 92 because I was only 16.
I don't remember voting, and I don't know who I would have voted for. In 92, I had zero opinion about this stuff.
We talked about it. Ross Perot is the third party candidate. You remember this, right?
We talking about it was probably you telling me.
No, I asked you who you were voting for, and then I asked you why. You told me George H.W. Bush, and then I asked you why. Do you remember your reason why?
I don't. There's that soccer face.
You told me you liked his haircut. And at this point, I knew either this man is totally trying to make a freaking joke out of all this, or he just really is not putting this much thought into the whole process.
Probably both of those. Does that mean nuance?
That's dialectical. Like, you were holding two things and, like, but you cared, right? You cared enough to vote. I think you voted.
I probably didn't care. Honestly.
But something drew you to vote for the Republican. Would you share what that is?
No, I had zero opinion about this stuff. I don't even remember an opinion about either one of those guys. I couldn't say anything good or bad about either one of them. I was a kid just starting college with a hot girlfriend. That was my life.
So would you say you just didn't pay attention?
That's very true.
But you had already gone to, let's just get this right. You'd already gone to basic training. You had already gone to AIT. And you were in the reserves, right? You were in the Army Reserves.
That's right.
So you have a vested interest in the direction of the country. So I am trying to get clarification.
I was a lower enlisted kid. You know, at that level, it doesn't matter who the commander-in-chief is. You don't get to have an opinion. That's a luxury.
I guess that's one way to look at it. I wasn't able to vote. If I could have, I would have voted for Bill Clinton, obviously. I did in 1996. 1996 was the first time I was able to vote. And politics has always been important to me. And I mean, from the 80s on, it's been important to me. And I've told you this. Have I told you the story of my second grade voting story?
I don't think so.
Can I?
Okay.
Can I share it?
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. Put me another one too. Let's do this. We're gonna do this. This is good. This is good history.
I will indulge you for a little bit.
What do you mean? I want to know about you.
Okay.
I asked you questions.
I understand.
Can you yield the floor to me?
I just said I will indulge you for a while, okay. But I don't want this to dominate everything.
Okay. I'm just going to give a little 2 minutes.
I'm very nuanced.
Okay. So, I've always been very intrigued by John F. Kennedy. And I read a lot of books in middle school and high school about JFK. However, my earliest memory is the 1984 election against Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale. We had a mock election in my second grade class. And she had a big box, and everybody got to write their vote in, fold it up, and go put it in the box. And then, at the end of the day, she read the votes and tallied them on the chalkboard. And vote after vote was Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan. And I kept thinking, oh my God, am I the only one that is going to vote for Mondale? Then there was a Mondale, and I'm like, is that mine? Who is that? Am I the only one? There was 2 Mondales. I think there ended up being like 3 Mondales and 26 Ronald Reagans in that box. And it just started, like, I started to get this anxiety, like, oh my God, how come I'm not correct? Like, how come nobody else is thinking like I think? And so I start looking around the room like, surely the girls would vote for this guy, right? Because he's got a female vice presidential candidate. This is big. This is important.
You weren't even 10 years old yet.
I wasn't. But it started the comparisons. I kept looking like, okay, Sarah's dad brings her to school and he wears a suit and he has a briefcase. My dad gets up early and has a lunch pail and doesn't bring me to school. Maybe doesn't even know what grade I'm in, or like, I just started to kind of compare, like, and contrast, like, socioeconomic things in a 7-year-old's mind, in a 7 or 8-year-old's mind. It started me like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me because I didn't vote for Ronald Reagan? But I had heard my dad, being a union guy, Ronald Reagan brought the unions to their knees. And so it just made me, very hyper aware of the differences, socioeconomic differences of people in the second grade. It's very pivotal. Like, I had my little kangaroo shoes on that I kept my popcorn money in the zipper. I had my Cabbage Patch doll. But then I'm doing all these comparisons about why would I vote for Mondale and Sarah wouldn't. It just made me start to spin all of these things. And that is like a very pivotal memory.
Wow, your class had a lot of influence on our country.
My class? What do you mean?
Well, most of your class voted for Reagan, right?
And he won in 1984.
And you guys weren't even old enough to vote, and you still made the election go.
We're just voting, like, basically everybody's voting what they've heard their parents say. So it was just a total mind screw for me, and it's kind of what got me.
Is it a mind screw or is it just a lesson? How is it a mind screw? You learn something. You participated in something. How is that a mind screw?
Because I did want to know why. Like, a why.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what are the differences. I really
demanded an explanation.
I mean, I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, Tim's in the lower reading group. Does that have anything to do with it? Like, am I like you start to do these comparisons. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that this is a natural human thing that I did at 7 years old in that classroom in 1984. And then forevermore, it has shaped me.
I don't even remember what dominated my time in 1984.
Legos?
Probably Legos and cartoons.
I'm not saying politics dominated my time. I mean, I still have my sticker books, my Cabbage Patch doll, my Annie Mansion, and my Barbies. Like, I'm just saying, it was in my mind. It had rolled around. It's rolling around like a tumbleweed in my mind. I'm just saying it's.
I may have had an Atari.
I did. I had an Atari.
In 1984. Maybe.
Yeah. So what is your earliest memory of like a election? What is your earliest memory surrounding that in your family?
Probably not until the 90s. And in the 90s, early 90s, probably the only thing I wanted to watch on TV was probably Star Trek.
So So what about, there's a lot of politics in Star Trek, though. There's a lot of, like, leadership and hierarchy and political regimes.
You're kind of explaining a military. And, yeah, I was understanding of how a military works.
But there's also diplomatic relations and the prime directives, prime directive and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's Starfleet.
Prime directive is not really a political concept.
You have to admit there are political concepts embedded within Star Trek. Star Trek's great. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of life lessons and leadership principles that are in Star Trek.
The only politics really was in the United Federation of Planets. Starfleet worked for the UFP. Picard was a commissioned officer in Starfleet. So, no, I wasn't drawn to anything political in that.
But you're drawn to the military aspects of it.
Maybe, and that show came out in the late 80s. I wasn't into the military. But I was certainly drawn to strong male characters.
Do you feel like MacGyver was a strong male character? I think that's
debatable. Yeah, but he wasn't military.
Right. Jay liked MacGyver. So you were drawn to those strong male characters, probably like as father figures then. Like you liked something about them.
Picard had something to teach you.
He did. Thank you, Jean-Luc Picard.
Can I show you something neat?
Sure.
Look at me right there.
Yay! We'll pull it. Can we show it?
Of course.
Or we could show it on a. Oh.
That was a Father's Day gift.
Also, when you had hair.
That was a minute ago.
Yeah, very nice. And then I was wondering if we wanted to explain our little game over sign here. Can we explain the concept of that?
If you can do it quick, because we're kind of running long.
Okay. What is this again? What is that?
Galaga.
That's an Atari game, right? Am I right?
Well, you could play a goofy version of it on Atari.
Okay. Anyway,
probably Konami, which I think is Japanese.
Okay. Well, this is our game over sign. And if we ever get into a current event or topic, political or otherwise, where we get too heated as far as not agreeing, either one of us can say, hold up the game over sign and we can time out. Like if we're flooded and we need to stop talking.
Are you proud of the endurance I just displayed by not pulling that out during your second grade story?
There was absolutely nothing wrong with my second grade story. Was it just that you were impatient?
I am impatient.
A little impatient. Is there anything that you disagree with on my second grade story?
Agreeing or not agreeing is irrelevant with your story. I wasn't there.
So then why would you pull the game over?
I didn't.
I know you just alluded that you could have because you were impatient. This is only to be used if we're flooded emotionally and we need to stop talking about a topic.
Very good. Let's stop right there.
Game over.